Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, to another edition, another chapter, if you will, of the Open Book, Open Mind Challenge. Today we have a very special guest, a very intricate, strategic fellow who hails from a very special place near and dear to my heart. If y'all don't know, we talking to a brother of mine on many levels. He is a brother from long time childhood era of mine. We've been friends since grade school, and now my brother is embarking on a new path and launching some information that will be helpful to the masses, especially in this time where we need to understand and empower ourselves and each other. I'm excited to have this discussion with a brother who is now starting out a podcast that will help us in keeping our information secure, understanding networking and all the great things that we can tap into on the web. Without further ado, and the long introduction, which we'll get into, I'm going to introduce you guys to my brother, Captain General Lieutenant Strategist, President, and CEO of 9 Mile Security, 9 Mile Solutions, and let's get into it today. General Shrowder, thank you for accepting today our invitation to battle with us on the Open Book, Open Mind Challenge. I don't know if you've been watching recently the Versus TV battles.
Absolutely.
The Versus clash.
Absolutely.
So today we want to continue our clash, which is actually an opportunity for us to work and challenge each other. As you know, in this program, we talk about the great things that we're doing in the world and the great things that are happening, but we also talk about how we can help each other learn more, grow, and expose each other to great techniques and great strategies through literature and educational material. And you, my brother, have been alongside this journey of mine through Open Book, Open Mind, Ever After. You've been a strategic asset for a lot of people by giving them so much counsel in your own personal business and your professional life. You also have worked in many forms as an educator, and now you are also the CEO and the president of your own company, which we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you so much.
I'm excited to have you today. So,
Thank you.
President Shrowder, and a lot of people don't know, you were president of the student body in our college days. You've always been a leader in your own right. So I can go on about all the things that you've done and all the things that I've been impressed by and been able to witness you in your leadership roles. And now you're doing this in another platform, another iteration, which is now cybersecurity. Could you tell us more about that?
Sure. Well, so 9 Mile Security Group, which is the company that I run, on an arm of 9 Mile Solutions.
Yep.
Which started in 2012, I believe. We were more focused then on management consulting. So we were giving strategic advice to during the initial phases of incorporation, to nonprofits, to for-profits, to startups, to solopreneurs, to entrepreneurs. And so, what that consisted of was, sitting with folks who had goals, dreams, whether they were latent or active, and just seeing how best we could be of service to their dreams, and partnering with them and laying out the vision, but then also pairing the vision with concrete steps and benchmarks and milestones. We like milestones, because our mission, our goal, one of our key phrases is we go the extra 8. Sometimes some folks will give you a 1 mile plan, and then leave you there. And then, you're kind of trying to figure out where you go from there. But saying all that to say, we pride ourselves on sticking with clients mile after mile after mile until, you get the hang of it. And key to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and key to that, that I have to point out, I'd be remiss if I did not point this out, is that, I am a minority-owned business. I don't necessarily like that term, but it is what it is for now. But we come from a group of people who historically are underserved and underrepresented at the same time in whatever space we play in. And so I do think that it's super important to go the extra 8 with minority businesses, the extra 8 miles to make sure that, whether it's resources or information that is out there that they're not aware of, we bring that to them. So,
and I can attest, a first-hand account, brother. You're not only a professional in every sense, but you're a dear friend and brother of mine who walked every mile alongside me, as I mentioned, through my incorporation of Ever After Foundation and beyond. You and I have been entrepreneurs, dabbling in several projects.
Since college, dude.
Organizational strategy, and you and I have always been side by side in every single step of everything that I've been involved in or been proud to be involved in. You've been there with me. And for those of you who don't know, Wayne isn't just a nice guy. This gentleman has a BS in business administration. He has an MS in public policy and administration. His certifications are in back-end web development, cybersecurity awareness, cybersecurity risk management, and you are a Scrum Master. What does that mean? What are all those?
Wow.
What do all those things allow you to do, and what? How? Please elaborate on those.
Yes. Thank you, David. I graciously. It's been a long path, and sometimes I was having a conversation actually with a friend of mine yesterday, and he asked me about my master's, and he said, "Well, like how does that fit into what you do?" And I took a while to pause and reflect because everything fits in with everything. It's kind of like you have to get to a point of singularity where you're able to see the chessboard, and then you understand that each piece is just a variant of the other one. And so starting at the bottom, whereby we obtained our bachelor's degree, I did mine in admin, you did it in marketing.
Yep.
That was our foundation, and we applied principles in real time. We didn't wait for the opportunity to present itself to us. I think the statute of college limitations is up, so we can say it. We were running our own shops, literally applying practices to see how to gain real life feedback, right? And we had our own operations, supply chain, all that stuff. So we were ahead of the curve in that regard, and so I would say that my bachelor's degree was the first block, if you will, that provided me with the foundation as to, okay, well, how does a business run? What does it entail? And how do you make it better? What should you expect?
Yeah.
Second to that was the public administration degree, affairs and policy and administration. And that gave me a back-end view into the pieces and the movement that come along with, for instance, incorporating a nonprofit, or what goes into filing articles of organization if you are an LLC, different types of entities, the paperwork and the necessaries that go into it, how those entities interplay with each other, the dynamics that are at stake internally, within each other, and how all of those pieces sit on the board, and then interact with the government. So whether you're talking about federal contracting, state contracting, municipalities, that degree served that purpose, which is also a vertical of what 9 Mile Security Group is involved in. The next area, the next domain, I believe, is cyber awareness. That's from the military. And so part of what we do involves necessarily being operationally secure. They call it OPSEC, communication secure, that's ComSec. And so there's a certain level of awareness that needs to be had at all times. Cyber risk management, closer to near and dear really to what 9 Mile Security Group is about, has to do with the various risks, levels, threats that each entity, each company, each operation faces. And then, based on the threat level that's unique to you, how then do you respond to that? So risk and response, right? That's the statement.
That's the long and the short of it, like the full end.
Yes.
From start to finish.
Yep.
And acquiring all those certificates and all those various degrees, you were able to find ways to connect all of your experiences and make them relevant to what you're doing today and what you're offering people now. So you've always been able to see the 9 Mile from the very beginning. And that's one thing I can always credit you for. You always were in it for the long game, where you actually would assess situations and strategically, align the key players, key components, and give the proper counsel to everyone every team that we've been a part of. And as you mentioned and alluded to, shout out to everyone who used to eat from our shop back in AUC. We used to we used to have the shop, and we used to run our operations from the dorm and provide meals after hours when the cafeterias were closed. A lot of people don't remember or may remember all the beef patties that they could never find in Massachusetts from our, you know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
We saw
our competitors. Shout outs to our competitors.
Shout outs to the imitators as well. And you and I have always strategically, like, we would get together, we would kind of get into a think tank, and whatever it was that I couldn't connect, you and I would finish each other's sentences, in a sense, in a business sense. And I always valued that element that you brought to all of our endeavors. And to see you now having your own and launching this and being able to now give back and also inform others is key. And I'm not sure of all of the components in it, but hearing what you're going to provide and bring to the table, I'm really excited for your podcast. How can we tap into that? Where would we be able to find that information? I know it's starting soon.
Yeah, so the podcast, we'll definitely put out some more info on that. It'll be accessible via Spotify for sure, Apple platform for sure. So those two platforms will definitely host the podcast. And the podcast itself, it's called The Intercept, right? And it explores where cyber risk meets response. So it's, I guess, a culmination and a declaration and an example of, I'm taking you into how my mind works. And, I'm showing you how things align, from a point of singularity, really, how everything is a version or derivative of itself in a way, and I say all that to say that, you can, let's say, you are shopping online for whatever it is, maybe a pack of pencils or, lotion or, knee pads. But everything that you do, every activity, every action that you take has resident to it or within it some element of cybersecurity risk, and it's necessary. That is the case nowadays, even more so because almost everything is digital. And so, with something that's digital, you have some risk there of either being hacked, compromised, or something that you would necessarily want to have happen to you. So we're exploring it in different ways, in everyday activity. It's not some 3,000 foot, approach flyover.
Right.
And we're also going in unconventional ways, where, you really wouldn't think cyber activity or cyber risk is involved.
Right. And of late, especially now where everyone's working from home and everyone's operations are based online and the online interactions, I think it's especially important to have a platform like yours to kind of guide the common, to bring it into layman's terms to what we need to do to protect ourselves, and also to be more informed of better ways and techniques of doing things. It's not so much about being hacked all the time, but it is very much a big component or a big fear of a lot of what companies face now. And considering also that your background and your training is now in military, in the military as well. Shout out to you, brother. If you haven't noticed, I'm wearing my special gear in preparation for our conversation today. This was something that I had in mind to salute you for your service and all the things that you're doing.
Yeah, and I'll take that and I'll pass that on to the fallen heroes, man.
Absolutely. How was that influenced you in your work now, in your professional work as well as your not so much personal life, but your daily life? Based on the experience with your service in the military and the National Guard, being an active member now, how has that impacted your personal and daily life as well? And how has that influenced the work that you're doing now?
Two things. I think it's definitely compounded my sense of drive, and it definitely has added a couple of layers of resilience, because as in the military and as with life and as essentially in cybersecurity, it's not a matter of whether or not you're going to be hit. It's a matter of how well you absorb the hit and how well you bounce back from the hit and how well or quickly you learn lessons to prepare you for, the next incoming, whenever that should occur. And so I kind of parlay that into cybersecurity in my own personal life, because, things that you don't want to have happen are going to happen. But it's, how prepared are you before they happen? What do you do afterwards? And how quickly do you recover? So, I think drive and resilience are definitely the two key words that I have soaked up and personalized, internalized as a result of being, in the military.
Yeah. I also noticed your drive, your resilience, and that's infectious and contagious, because you not only try to build yourself up for whatever may come, you also pass that on to me, and I'm getting that infectious drive as well, as I've been running now, and something that you brought to my attention with the app that we've been using. You are a beast, brother. You are a beast.
Yeah.
You probably run 9 miles solutions. You run 9 miles a day, I'm certain as well.
Not yet. I got a big run coming up. I'm going to break that barrier. I'm going to do a 9 mile run for 9 miles.
You're going to do a 9 mile run for 9 miles. I'm trying to keep up, brother. I got to salute you, because literally, you put me onto the app, and I've been running more now, focused to, being on track with fitness and being more resilient and having my body in line with my goals as well. And, we've been running with the dog. We run kind of on the Dolo mission. I run with Abby all the time. And shout outs to Abby, because she definitely works harder than I do in that front. Where she carries me on a run, and then she goes back on and does the second one for herself. So no, but that infectious spirit that we notice and we appreciate, because we've been inspired by the work that you've done. We're inspired by the runs that you're making, and now the moves you're making online is something I'm very proud to see. What kind of books are you into now that you're absorbing so much information? You're counseling, you're strategizing, consulting. What do you do when you're not doing those things, and what kind of books are you either enhancing those skills with, or just kind of just taking a break from those things with?
So, I have a system whereby I try to pair, I try to bundle tasks into phases, and so I pick a couple of things and I try to focus on them single-mindedly, and then I will try to augment or complement those things with a book. So it's kind of like I'm getting, constantly in different mediums, different forms. And so a couple of books here, Single Tasking, that's a good one. Managing Your Day-to-Day, and that's by Joycelyn Glee. Single Tasking by Devorah Zach. Top of Mind, John Hall. Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got, Jay Abraham. The $100 Startup, that's by Chris Galibiu. Sorry, Chris. The Lean Startup, I'm currently reading that. It's kind of like a textbook, if you will. The One-Page Marketing Guide Plan, rather, 1PMP. That's excellent. I'm pretty sure you'd appreciate that. That's great for startups who are operating on a conservative budget,
Right.
bang for your buck. So, so I that's how I work through it. That's kind of my system. And then I pair that with vigorous movement. So ideas will come to you when you least expect it. But I think you got to focus too on resting the mind. And running is my therapy. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to find more books that would help me kind of focus on strategy as well. I'm gonna take those books into recommendation. The other thing I was also noticing, like you said, with the fitness and the running, is keeping yourself kind of focused as well, and the therapy that you get from running and such. What kind of stuff are you doing for recreation?
So when I'm not reading or running or working, I like to watch Netflix, man. I try to try to get it in.
Yeah.
So that usually happens at 11 o'clock at night, maybe a space 11, 12, depending on whenever I stop.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly discovering documentaries, or just shows, movies. I love movies. I really love movies, man. So
yeah.
Meditation. I keep it light. It's like we had a conversation, I think, previously, man.
Several.
Yeah, that's true. So one of the conversations, I think you perfectly detailed what balance looked like, and I thought about it. I was like, yeah, man. It's like, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but it's like having kale salad, orange juice with a bag of Doritos. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I really try to live by that example,
Yeah. We have to find a balance in it all. And I know we're, like I said, we're focused on a lot of things, a lot of projects, and unless we have a strategy or at least some kind of alignment with our goals, we might not get to that finish line and that solution. But it's also good to know that there's a resource out there for people who know nothing about those areas, and now they can find a guide and a consultation site from your information that you're going to be providing with us shortly. I'm looking really forward to that, and especially more conversations on your podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Can you give us the name of that podcast again?
Sure, Dave. The name of the podcast is The Intercept, and we'll be exploring how cyber risk meets good cyber response. And so whether that is hardening your cell phone, how to encrypt your data, how to make sure that your home environment is secure for conducting either personal or work-related business, how to protect your children while they're online. What does cybersecurity now look like in the age of post-COVID or COVID-19? And so if you're a small business thinking of starting out, we're starting out, but we're temporarily sidelined by COVID. I think I did a post a couple of days ago and essentially said COVID-19 has laid waste to most all small businesses' plans for the year. However, and this is super true, one plan that you should never, ever, ever, ever put on the shelf or hiatus or disregard is a cybersecurity plan. And it doesn't matter the size of the operation you're running, whether you are a sole proprietor, whether you have a side hustle, or whether you're part of the gig economy, whether you're a small business, meaning 10 employees or less, or 50 or more, entrepreneur, whatever the area of business is for you, you need to have some plan as to how you're securing things like the devices that you run, use for your business. And that could be a cell phone, a tablet, a computer, fancy as a workstation, server, the network that those devices connect to, whether it's your home network or it's the VPN extension of that network, and essentially the physical environment around that comprises the network and the device. So, some key tips, whether you install a filing cabinet or, you have a shredder,
right,
things like that, right? So the
for
podcast will touch on all that.
Yeah, and you've also been good to keeping us abreast on those updates. I know you also have an Instagram page.
Yes. So Instagram.
Can you give us the name of that for the person who's looking for you online?
Sure.
Where we can find all those?
Sure. It's 9 Mile Security Group. At 9 Mile Security Group, we are on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn. So that's our handle. 9 Mile Security Group, and follow us for quick tips and easy to implement steps that you can take to make sure that you're a little bit safer. Security essentially is out, resilience is in, and I say that because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Cyber security, cyber threats are at your doorstep right now. So it's not a matter, there's no more putting your head in the sand and saying, hey, I will run my antivirus and I'm fine. Because guess what? Most antiviruses only pick up one type of attack. They look for attacks that have already happened, call them signature-based, that have left some evidence behind, and they don't pay attention to behavioral indicators, right? So the way of the world now in terms of attacks, it's more behavioral versus signature.
Wow.
And so your typical antivirus is not set up to notice that, for instance, you're not ordinarily logging in at 2 a.m. And this file has changed from whatever directory, or a new file has been added to X directory, or it's not even supposed to be there. Only if you're approaching it behaviorally, then you would notice that, well, something is off there, or network, So a lot of these attacks now are sophisticated. So I don't want to go too deep into the rabbit hole, but
I was
again,
just gonna say all of this free information that you've been providing online, you've been providing it through LinkedIn, you've been providing it through IG, and now with this podcast, how can someone who would like to get or obtain your services for long-term information and consultation, how does one get in touch with you to get actual, to be getting services from you in this way? That all the information you're providing, like right now.
Sure. So, if you're interested in setting up your own cybersecurity plan, or if you already have a cybersecurity plan, you just like to recheck, make sure that the foundations of your operations are secure, then you can send us an email at info@ninemilesecurity.biz. So that's info@ninemilesecurity.biz, or you can check out the website, 9milesecurity.biz, and there you can send us a message. We'll get back to you in 24 hours or less, and we'll take it from there. But absolutely, if you want to create your cybersecurity plan, if you already have one, if you already have someone on board and you just want a second opinion as to whether or not you are actually where they say you are, we can provide that as well. A reference point, A/B testing, if you will. And we'll create a plan for you, and we'll manage it with you, alongside you, with whomever you have existing, all the way to completion. This is not 1 mile, it's a marathon. So we're in it for the long haul.
Thanks for all that great information, and I really truly will be following you, as I need more information about that and things that we always talk about on the side. You and I, you always put me onto something great, and we always have that exchange. And like I mentioned with the run and the fitness as well, I'm bringing in a fitness consultant who could best align with what you're speaking on, because like I was saying, come through. This is my my fitness segment of the Open Book, Open Mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's so fitty.
She's so fitty. And as I was telling General Wayne over here,
I want my commanders to get at me, but
okay.
The 9 Mile Security Group Army.
There we go. Of the 9 Mile Security. I was just telling Wayne how we've been running now more often and using the app and the things that he was actually giving us advice about, and how much has changed and done a benefit for us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been running like what? I'm trying to run about 2-3 miles now.
I'm trying to get into about 6 miles, but
she's trying to get me to 6. But
yeah, I think so. Maybe you can agree, maybe you'll attest to this, Abby. After the first 2.5, maybe 3 miles, I think your body kind of accepts the idea that we're here and we will keep going. I think so. And shout out to you, Abby. I'm telling you, this isn't something that you want to do every day. Sometimes you carry the mind, and the other times the mind carries you. And the times where the mind is carrying you, it usually holds some image or some event. And sometimes I will say, you're one of the folks who, based on your posting of your activity, it kind of it gives me life to keep going. You know what I mean? Because it's a community, and so I definitely.
Thank you. And it's for me, I like to, like you said, when I see, oh, you're running, I'm like, Dave, let's go.
Let's go.
It motivates us, to go. And the thing is, for me, you got us into running because I'm more, the gym is my thing. And when this whole COVID happened, I was just like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to get my workouts in? And then I had to just kind of get my mind right. I had to say, you know what? It's just a gym. Like, my fitness is my fitness, and I have to find a way to still get it in. So then I started doing home workouts, and it's not that I'm like, yes, every day I want to work out. It's just like you said, you have to train the mind. And I wake up before the kids, and I'm like, I'm getting it in right now.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, you have to find a way. If you want to get something done, and if you are dedicated to it, you'll find a way to get it done. And you have to motivate yourself.
Yeah.
And with running, for me, once I get going, I can keep going.
But the thing is, Wayne's been running too.
Yeah.
And
how did you build up that endurance to just keep going? Because sometimes you feel like that's it. There's no more left.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. I think it came from a realization that when you sit with yourself and you internalize, you go within and you reflect, and you realize that the things that you want to do in life will require a lot out of you. It's like you're backwards planning. It's a military phrase. And so you're saying to yourself now, okay, what are some of the things that I will need to have? The intangibles, because, from all things come. Anyway, so you ask yourself, what do I need? And honestly, what you need is, you need to build resilience. You'll need to build endurance. You'll need to build stamina here first. You need to win it here. And so for me, part of it was some military training, right? But I mean, the Army can only give you but so much. You take it and you perform when you're in the environment, and you leave it, or you stick with it, right?
Yeah.
So I did that, and I will have to shout out a good friend of mine, Adam Carnegie, who actually got me running back in 2009, maybe.
Shouts to Adam.
Shouts to Adam Carnegie. So then, I stuck with it because I realized that I could transfer the mindset, the endurance, the ruggedness, the doggedness of, approaching mile 4, mile 5, and feeling like you have nothing left, and then translating that into, my own pursuit, life pursuits, and because that's those feelings are transferable. So I think that's what kind of anchored me and keeps me going, because anytime I feel like I want to give up on a run, I remind myself that I'm going to be in a situation, not run like, right, where I'm going to feel like I want to give up. But if I can train that muscle while I'm running, then I can transfer that energy, that strength, to when I'm not running. So that's how I look at it.
You're right. You have to, in like the fitness journey that I'm learning, because I'm not an expert, but this is just what I'm learning. You have to train your mind, because even when you're there and burpees, like I do not like burpees, but it seemed like every HIIT workout there's a burpee. And sometimes, like, there's no one watching me, there's no trainer inside the home, so I can easily just sit that one out. But for me, it's like, who am I cheating? I'm cheating myself, and I want to get better at that. So I do it, and I may not I don't have it down pat, but I'm not giving up. And that's the thing with me. Like, I do it for myself because there's no one watching me here, So you have to train yourself, like, especially your mind, that you're doing it for yourself. And when you do that, you push yourself more.
And you own your results.
Yeah.
The results are for you as well. And now, what I noticed between what you and Wayne both do is whatever you've harnessed and acquired and learned to strategize and internalize, you guys are now offering that to others and inspiring others as well. Mm-hmm. With the workout.
Well, I would say not. I mean, Dave, it's what all of us have been doing, man. We've been doing this since college again. We would take, we had a professor at Boca and he would give us a term or two, right? And we would go back to the dorm with that seed and apply it to what we were doing, right? Yeah. Plug, by the way. So we would, we would take a concept, a key concept, and we would literally apply it to the business, in real time. So, whether we were conscious of the fact that we're doing it, we've been doing this. But I think it's just been compounded now in terms of different environments and, different goals and dreams. So all of us, all three of us, I think we've been doing this for very long.
Thanks for that reminder. And, you're right, because that's why these conversations are important, because you and I talk all the time. You always, if you're not talking, you're texting. You and I, shooting me something and I'm shooting you something back. But being able to have a recorded something that, we can pass these on to other people and help enlighten other people as well. And also learn from the feedback that we get when we exchange with people.
And back to the fitness.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to find what works for you, because there's so many different, fitness, diets and routines, but you have to find what works for you, because my journey is not going to be somebody else's journey. You can take a little bit from what I'm doing, but you have to make it your own. And once you make it your own, I think you get the results, because you're sticking with it, because it's something that, it's working for you. And there's a balance. Like, yes, I work out, but I'm not going to lie and say I don't have a burger, like it's not all salads every day. And, that's my balance. That's my balance. Yeah. And for some people, they cannot have carbs. They cannot have, I need a balance. And I feel Absolutely. Like that helps me to be able to sustain what I'm doing.
Right. In the immortal words of the legend Nipsey Hussle, Hermes Ashdown, in one of his songs, he said, find your pace. You got to find your pace, but then make sure to finish the race. So it's a marathon. You have to find your pace. A lot of times I'll catch myself running, and someone will come up from behind, and the competitor, i.e. the ego in me, will want to, run them down or keep pace with them. But then I'm saying to myself, what happens if that person stops? That person's on their last half a mile, and then you've just taken energy from your next mile, and then so on and on and on and on and it goes. So it's something that you can apply. Or let's say you are starting something and you see someone already doing it, and they have, I don't know, X amount of likes and all that stuff, and then you're over there wondering why, how that, it's find your pace, right? But finish your race, as you're saying.
Exactly. And that's I think across all boards, even in your life.
Yeah.
We can't keep trying to compete with somebody else. You have to take it one step at a time. You're here, somebody else is there. They were once where you were, and now you're working to get to your own level. You have to just know where you want to get, because you get distracted by by watching everyone and what they're doing. Not to say that you can't take little things from people and implement that in your life, but to imitate the whole thing, it's not going to work for you, because that's not you.
No.
So
people whiff that out a mile away. Whether it's friends, customers, clients, folks are very savvy, and they know when it's not you, or when it sounds like something else. So I feel like and sometimes it takes a very long time to figure out what does you look like, you know what I mean, in a way. So just stick with it. There's beauty. There's so much beauty, man, in the progress and the walk. So much.
Sometimes you have to walk alone too. Sometimes you have to walk alone. Yeah.
It's quieter. It's quieter sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
I'm still looking for that mushroom coffee.
Have you guys? Did you follow up on the link? You can't find it, or it's sold out?
We've been looking for it everywhere in physical form. We haven't gone online.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. It's probably safer first. Yeah, all that's going on.
Question? What's the difference? Is it stronger, purer in terms of taste, or?
So it's a combination of things, mainly the added health benefit too. So, okay, we are coffee aficionados here.
I was just gonna say we now have a fitness and nutrition segment, which
I know.
Whoever has not been privy to our conversations prior to this, Wayne is also good at swapping recipes with us and health benefits of different things. So we're now talking about a specialty coffee that Wayne has been informing us about, which the health benefits of mushroom and how it affects diet in different forms, and now especially in coffee, which I had never known before.
Because I use mushrooms
in everything.
I love mushrooms.
Sea mushroom, my onion, everything.
Grill, roast, everything. Mushrooms. So I want to hear the benefits of it. So I'm here.
So, I am a neophyte to this world of mushrooms and mycelium. But what I understood of, some of the more popular and then leading ones that have been discovered so far. Lion's mane, I believe, is the variant of mushroom that is paired with this coffee. Turkey tail is another one that's also pretty good for women specifically. But lion's mane is, all around, your go-to mushroom. And so what they've done here, because coffee typically pH-wise, is acidic. What it does with the lion's mane is it creates a happier marriage for your internal. Okay. And you get the added boost of, the lift in mood, but you're also feeding the system, the gut, giving you some good gut health at the same time. So it's a pretty good medium. Not medium roast, but it's a pretty good. See, that's a coffee joke, but
so as you can see, 9 Mile Security Group, 9 Mile Solutions, Strategy for life.
For real.
409 miles in the whole yard.
Yeah.
Because, there's this type of stuff that we talk about all the time, and to see, how you're doing this, and now I'm really excited to see how you impart your information of things you gathered into segments. Looking forward to that.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, man behind the mile. Sometimes things can be faceless or cold or just boring. But I think it's great for people to get behind to see who is or who are the individuals representing a brand or a company. Get to understand their thinking. Maybe now it makes more sense. And folks, I hope, will be more accepting and receiving the message of cyber resilience. It's not a matter of if, it's when. It's how you respond across the board, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's health, whether it's exercise. It's how you respond to the threats and the risks that you face.
True. You have to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's 9_mile_security_group on Instagram.
Yes.
We have
and on LinkedIn and on Facebook as well.
LinkedIn and Facebook, and looking forward to the podcast hitting your earwaves on June 1st.
Yes. First episode will be on June 1st. We'll be ramping up promo throughout the week with the necessary info on where to go.
That's out. Yo.
Yes.
I appreciate your time, and my brother Wayne, as always, you are a champion, a warrior, and you have now completed the Open Book, Open Mind Challenge officially. And thanks for being a part of this segment today and giving us information, insight about how to keep our our network secure, and all the great things that you've kind of helped us align in our marathon.
Thank you. Thank you. It continues. Thank you.
Always continues.
All righty.
Pleasure, brother.
See you guys soon. All righty.